Is it possible for a good action to result in an outcome? If so, how should we judge the action? By its intention or its result? This ethical conundrum has been a source of intrigue for humanity for millennia. Today, we delve into the evolution of ethical thought, tracing its development from antiquity to the present day. Our journey sets off in the bustling avenues of ancient Athens, where we cross paths with Socrates, a philosopher celebrated for his unique Socratic method and his daring confrontations to the ethical conventions of his time. Socrates was steadfast in his faith in an intrinsic morality anchored in universal truth. He advocated the notion that moral virtue is the epitome of goodness and contended that every unjust act is born out of ignorance. For example, reflecting his belief that knowledge of right prevents wrong deeds, Socrates would often question Athenian citizens about their moral beliefs, an act which eventually led to his trial and execution. He famously declared that enduring an injustice is preferable to committing one. This underscores his belief that understanding the good leads to doing the good. To illustrate, if an individual understands that stealing is wrong, they won't steal, since it contradicts From the heart of Athens, we journey to the grand halls of the Lyceum, where Aristotle, a diligent student of Plato, proposed a divergent viewpoint. Aristotle, known for his wisdom, introduced the concept of the golden mean, advocating for a harmonious balance between extreme behaviors. To illustrate, he believed that courage, a virtuous trait, is a midpoint between recklessness and cowardice. To further exemplify, he proposed that temperance lies between excess and deficiency, and generosity resides between prodigality and stinginess. This notion was a reflection of Aristotle's ethical thought. For instance, Aristotle firmly held the belief that a good life is one of balance. Fast forwarding to the 18th century, we teleport to the charming town of Königsberg, where Immanuel Kant pioneered a fresh perspective on ethical thinking. Kant unveiled the idea of the categorical imperative, a principle demanding that we act based on standards that could be globally implemented. In simpler terms, we must carry ourselves in a way that we would want others to emulate. To exemplify this, Kant suggested the inception of a universal moral law, such as do not lie. Kant's categorical imperative would argue that lying is always wrong, even if it leads to a good outcome. This illustration demonstrates how his ethical theories revolutionized our understanding. Our journey next takes us to the ancient Indian battlefield of Kurukshetra, where Arjuna, under Krishna's guidance, wrestles with an intense moral crisis, as depicted in the distinguished Mahabharata. Arjuna, a respected warrior, finds himself in a struggle of familial affection against his dharma, or duty. Indeed, Arjuna's dilemma in the Mahabharata showcases the classic conflict between desires. This moral conflict embodies the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, underscoring the precedence of duty and righteousness over individual wishes. Arjuna's choice to battle against his own relatives in the war, despite his personal emotions, serves as a strong example of this, mirroring the ethical principles elaborated in the Bhagavad. So, what insights does this quick tour of ethical thought provide? It brings to light that ethics is not a static concept, but an evolving one, shaped by cultural, social, and personal contexts. It unveils that our moral choices are influenced by a myriad of factors, from universal principles to societal norms, from personal virtues to duty-bound obligations. Socrates, Aristotle, Kant, and Arjuna each provided a unique perspective on ethics, contributing to our understanding of what it means to lead a morally good life. Their ideas continue to reverberate in our modern world as we wrestle with ethical challenges, from the environmental crisis to the complexities of artificial boss. They remind us that ethics goes beyond mere rule following. It involves seeking equilibrium, comprehending our obligations, and pursuing the greater good. Ultimately, ethics is about the decisions we make and the actions we undertake. It's about navigating the intricate landscape of right and wrong, good, bad. As we journey through life, these ancient voices guide us, prompting us to question, to think, and to act ethically. Because the more we understand about ethics, the better equipped we are to make moral decisions that shape not just our lives, but the world around us. In the contemporary era, fresh ethical theories are sprouting, providing us with a deeper understanding of what it entails to lead an ethically sound life. An important contribution to this is provided by John Rawls through his theory of justice. John Rawls' theory of justice is evident in policies that aim to redistribute wealth to the least privileged of society, emphasizing that these individuals should be the primary beneficiaries. Rawls suggests we make decisions behind a veil of ignorance, ignoring our personal situations to uphold fairness. Following this theory is another significant ethical theory, known as capability approach, brought forward by Amartya Sen. Sen's theory has influenced the development of the Human Development Index, as it prioritizes the actual freedom of individuals to lead the kind of life they value, rather than simply the resources they possess. Our society progresses, our ethical theories develop alongside, introducing new perspectives such as environmental ethics, digital ethics, and bioethics. Contemporary theories serve as a reminder that ethics is not stationary, a dynamic element that evolves with the fluctuating needs and values of society. The essence of ethics, therefore, resides not solely in the wisdom of ancient thinkers, but also in our ability to adapt that knowledge to our contemporary realities.